Welcome to More Than a Funeral, Voices of the Red River Valley, the podcast powered by Corsmo Funeral and Cremation Service of Moorhead, Minnesota, serving the Fargo, Moorhead, and surrounding area for over 67 years. More Than a Funeral, Voices of the Red River Valley is the podcast that brings you the stories, voices, and insights that shape our community. I'm your host, Tom Pence, and each month we'll be joined by local people of interest, leaders, experts, neighbors from around the Red River Valley to discuss the topics that matter most to you. Whether it's culture, business, history, or the issues that impact our daily lives, we're here to share, learn, and connect. If you enjoy today's conversation, be sure to share it, subscribe, follow us, so you never miss an episode. We'd love to have you join us for future discussions and continue bringing you more voices from around the valley. So sit back, enjoy, relax, grab a cup of Lutheran Church coffee to go with your Rice Krispie bar, and enjoy today's conversation. We're glad you stopped by. Well, good afternoon, podcasters. You have tuned into one more episode of More Than a Funeral, Voices of the Red River Valley. And here we are recording the end of January, and as is a typical January, we're looking at temperatures just above zero. So as we like to call it, it's winter. Nothing too extreme, but it's kind of crazy. I'm looking at the stats, and we are in about 26 countries and about 156 cities. So for those of you guys who are in Singapore or Brazil, just know that winter is here. But today, I actually am very enthused about our guest today. It's going to be kind of fun. They're all fun, but we're going to be talking a little bit about Homeward Animal Shelter right here in the Fargo-Moorhead area. And our guest today is Tasha Haug. She is the executive director of Homeward Animal Shelter. And I kind of jokingly asked her if we'd get some of the kids in, some of the dogs and some of the cats, and she declined. They get a little bit too crazy, so it's going to be kind of quiet in the area. But welcome. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you so much, Tom.
You bet. Tell us a little bit about Homeward Animal Shelter. Not so much of the shelter yet, but your personal history, how you came about to be the executive director.
Well, I do say that my origin story begins with my mom. She would let me rescue anything, rabbit, bird, mouse, just, any stray. We had a stray goose. So basically I got to rescue anything and everything.
Were you raised on a farm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How did
yes.
Okay.
So it was a really great experience because she really let us learn about the cycle of life and how animals don't live as long as we do, and they need to be spayed or neutered. Right. And so it really was just a natural part of my life, is being with animals and having them as pets and understanding how they need to be cared for and just really having them as part of the family.
Right.
And so fast forward to 2016, so already 10 years ago, I decided to volunteer at Homeward Animal Shelter. Started volunteering with dogs. So I walked dogs once a week for 2 hours on Sunday afternoons, and just got more involved that way. Started volunteering in other ways, and then eventually came on staff. And in development, when I came out on staff, I said, I really don't want to stop walking dogs. And they said, no problem, you can keep doing it. And so I've eventually moved on to the role of executive director, and I still spend my Sunday afternoons from 2 to 4 walking dogs. It's so important to me. It's such a good opportunity for me to just really have 2 hours a week with the dogs. We kind of joke at the shelter that people think we play with puppies and kittens all day.
Right.
We don't. The volunteers get to play with the dogs, cats, puppies, kittens.
Oh boy.
And so having that time every week really connects me in a different way with our mission. And I think that's really important, to be able to talk about Bruce Wayne, who is a big, lovable dog, loves to play in the snow,
Okay.
isn't afraid to just jump right in and roll in the snow.
I mean, dogs, a person can have, we've been a dog family for many years. We've got a couple rescues, but I mean, anybody could be having just an awful day. and if they are going to walk a dog, dogs and cats, but for the most part, dogs are very unconditional. I mean, they love you no matter if you've had a bad day or if your hair is wrong or something like that. That's cool. And so anyway, tell us a little bit about the actual, maybe the history of Homeward. I was doing a little research, reading a little bit on some articles, and when I first came here, I think it was called maybe just the Humane Society, and I was good to see, and I knew they've always been up at the Yunker Farm complex. We'll talk a little bit about that, but it started out kind of as the Humane Society, but I could be wrong on that. Maybe explain a little bit how it has become the Homeward Animal Shelter, and why you sort of separated yourself, not for any bad reasons, but why you felt it important to separate from the Humane Society, as we call it.
Oh, sure. Well, I was not with the organization at the time of the name change, but based on my questions, because I was curious,
Sure.
I learned that the organization changed the name from the Humane Society to Homeward Animal Shelter because there was a general misunderstanding that if someone made a donation to the National Humane Society, some of that money would come to the local organization,
Would
and that's
down,
not
right?
true.
Yeah.
And I actually misunderstood that when I was a donor before I worked at the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's a way of having a distinction of we are a completely local nonprofit shelter supported by the generosity of our community and our region, and so we don't receive funding from the National Humane Society.
So 2014, I think the official politically correct term is rebranding. I call it renaming.
Yep.
But the rebranding into 2014 to pursue that direction, as you say. I found it interesting that maybe the mission statement way back in 1966 might have been rescue, protect, and rehome local animals. And from what I see now, maybe it's a mission statement, but it says sheltering and finding homes for lost or abandoned dogs, cats, and other pets. Tell me a bit about the other pets.
Sure. Well, I'm going to just
Snakes.
Yes, what I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna just jump in quick that
Yes.
our mission now is rescue, shelter, protect, rehome.
Okay.
So that's our mission. What you read was more of a probably just a bit of a description about
Right.
us, but I will get on to other animals. Yes.
Yes.
So we have seen, snakes, although we need to find either an adopter or a foster right away for them because we really don't have the proper environment for them at our shelter. We do tend to see a fair number of rabbits who, again, have to go right into foster because they need a specific environment that we can't provide.
Okay.
There are sometimes ferrets, guinea pigs, gerbils, hamsters,
Iguanas.
chickens, a rooster.
Really?
I mean, it's really amazing the variety of animals that come into the Fargo Pound, and then that's where most of the animals come to us from the Fargo Pound, and so there have as unusual as a betta fish has been left in an apartment when someone leaves, and so then the betta fish needs a place to go. So
That makes sense.
It's
Makes sense, yeah.
and
Instead of the toilet.
I think there may have been a tarantula along with that betta fish. So that's a little bit of what we see from time to time.
Wow. So currently you're at and we'll talk about the proposed expansion here in a few minutes, but right now I call it the Yunker Farm Park Facilities up there on 26th or something like that? 28th Avenue North by the airport. Anyway, it is probably getting a little bit crowded up there. It's been there. Is that where it actually began?
It actually the organization started in 1966, and the animals were housed out of the FM Animal Hospital, which is in Moorhead, Minnesota. And then in 1990, the organization built the shelter that we have now on the land, which is owned by the Fargo Park District.
Okay. That's got to be a tight quarters as I drive by there and I see the number of animals that come through there. It's crazy. So some of the statistics that I read about, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in 2013, this article states you was housed, is that the right word, or processed or something, 800 dogs and cats, I think, in 2013. But last year, 1,500. And
Yes.
kind of anticipating maybe 1,600 in 2026. Now, I'm not really great at math, but that's like over 4 a day. So there's never probably a day where the staff there at the shelter come in and just kind of, oh, just another day here, just let's just relax, and all of a sudden, boom, somebody comes in with a couple pets. So, but that's a lot of animals that come through there. Yeah. Well, many people, they really love animals, but they really, for me especially, they really don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I haven't been into the shelter. I stopped up there once, and hours were a little bit later than I anticipated. But we'll talk a little bit about the expansion here, the average day. But I'm going to have Colleen actually just pulled in here, and she's going to join us. Colleen Lanners, our co-host and staff member here. It doesn't take much to be a co-host or a host here.
Yeah.
But I was telling Tasha about your success story with Kiki.
Yeah.
Colleen has had a rescue from Homeward and has some great stories, and so it's a testimony. I do too. I'll add them when you're finished. But tell us a little bit about your experience with Homeward and your pets, your kids.
My fur children. Yeah. So we adopted a dog, and we could tell that he was not doing well just as a single dog, and he needed a companion. But he needed a companion who was confident. And so I was looking through Facebook, and I follow Homeward, and you had a doggy day out, which I loved those posts because I think it shows the true character of an animal when they're outside the shelter. And Kiki was profiled. She had gone out, and they were talking about how she was so confident, and she just loved humans, and she loved other dogs, and they didn't understand why she was still in the shelter. And I'm like, I think this is my dog. And I don't think I would have gotten that, honestly, if I would have just gone to the website. She had a sweet face and everything, but I needed to kind of hear her personality. So we went and put the application in, and we got to see her, and we brought our dog with, and they got along really well. And he was so excited. And then you just gave us the leash and said, if we passed the adoption, all the adoption, things that you have to do. And they said, if you want to take her home tonight, you can. And I was just shocked. I'm like, oh, okay. We met her like an hour ago, and she's turned 5, and she's lived with us since then. And she's probably the best dog I've ever had. Yeah, she's great.
Till you get the next one.
Well, yes, till we get the next one.
Right.
And, the story was sad, too, because she's a black dog. She has, I think she might have been abused at some point. She has a horrible scar on her back. She was abandoned at the pound. Abandoned at a kennel. They never picked her up. And they called the owners who were on vacation, and the owners said, oh, yeah, we'll when we get back from vacation, we'll get her. And they never did. And I thought, who could abandon this amazing dog? But we were blessed. I'm so glad they abandoned her. So I think Homeward's great. And whenever I have, maybe we have a cat too. She's 15. She's getting a little particular about her food. If we have food that she doesn't like anymore, I always drop it off because you have those boxes in front of your shelter. So I drop stuff off there, and it was just a great experience.
Plus, you get your steps in every night, don't you?
Yes, thank goodness for my dogs because they take me on walks every night.
Right on, yeah. We, our Molly, mostly min pen, rescue dog also, but she came from a different shelter. But kind of the same thing. Colleen has been very good, was very good, and she probably still is. She kind of helps rehome pets. She'll send a text or a messenger saying, like, I just found a perfect dog for you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I probably, actually, to be honest, I just looked at Homeward's website again today because my family's like, oh, you should get a 3rd dog. And I'm like, no, we're good with 2 right now and our 15-year-old cat. But I realized after adopting Kiki from Homeward that when we do get our next dog, because there will be another dog.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be probably a rescue from you, and it's going to be a dog that's not a puppy. I think we'll go for the 2-year-old, dog that's hasn't, is friendly and may not, the black dog that doesn't get a lot of the attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so wonderful.
Well, thank you, Colleen. That means so much. I love hearing stories all the time, anytime. It means so much because that's really the core of what we're doing. It's really, I like to think of us as really matchmakers, and finding the right family for our pets, and to hear how well they're doing and what a difference it makes for other furry family members is always really it's so rewarding, and it just means so much to know that it's just the goodness. It's like the ripple, the goodness just goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Tom's looking at me. He's like, "Are you going to cry?" I probably will cry.
I didn't look at you that way.
But I have tears in my eyes because I am so thankful for this dog.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yep.
So thank you. Okay, I am going to cry.
Our little, mostly min pin rescue is, it's just fun to be out on a walk or a ride somewhere. Got to be careful to say the R word when she's around. What kind of dog do you have? I said, well, she's a rescue, and people just light up and go, oh, really? So it's kind of cool to be able to say it, to reinforce that it's a rescue dog, and she's mostly min pin. I say she's mostly energy, but you're right. Rescuing or rehoming them is a huge blessing, and plus they're a lot less expensive too. We'll talk about that in a minute. But before Colleen came in, I was just going to begin asking you kind of a strange question, but tell me a little bit about an average day at Homeward. And there probably is no such thing as an average day, but I guess, first of all, let me just ask you, Tasha, how do the animals come into your care? Probably there's some surrenders, like Colleen had said, maybe your other, well, anyway, I'll just be quiet. Tell me how that works.
Certainly. So the vast majority of the animals come to us through the Fargo Pound. So the city of Fargo and the Fargo Police Department has a contract with a local veterinary clinic to provide pound services. Okay. So the animals are either brought to the pound by someone who finds a stray animal and brings it in, or it might be through our community service officers who bring in the animals. The first thing they do is check for a microchip, because a microchip might get them back home again right away, rather than have to stay. Right. If not, and they are not reclaimed by their owners within the hold period of 3 days if it's the city of Fargo, or 5 days if it's Cass County, then the vast majority come to us. We do work on a regular basis with Cat's Cradle Shelter for the cats, because there are so many cats that neither group can take in all the cats. And so a large majority of the dogs come to us. We also do work with For Love of Dog, and we work in sort of that way of back and forth, like, someone has more space, and the dogs need to go to one space or the other, or it might be a large group of dogs all at once, and then both organizations take in some of the dogs. So really, once they are considered the property of Homeward Animal Shelter, it's a sort of a custody or a ownership situation, really. Right. And so the animal then becomes one of our animals. It belongs to Homeward Animal Shelter. We have staff go pick the animals up from the pound and bring them into the shelter. And then they are, we go through a process. We make sure that they're microchipped and that we have all of their, the medical information, vaccines, just make sure those things are taken care of and get them settled into where they're going to be. And that happens at the end of the day. So really, I can kind of run through sort of an example of how a day goes.
Please.
So weekdays start at 6 a.m. when our animal care techs come in, and the dogs go out, of course, right away to take their turns to have their little potty breaks outside. And then all the animals are fed, and any cleaning that's necessary is done. Of course, lots of litter boxes to clean every day. Any medications that the animals may need, enrichment, things like taking a paper bag and just putting some kibbles in there and some little treats and things. And then kind of you wrap up the paper bag. And so it's like this little activity for them to just have something to do.
Like a toy.
A toy or something for them, or, Kongs with peanut butter in the middle, those kinds of things.
Yes.
So, and then enrichment, cats have different, they get to have catnip or different toys and things. And then volunteers are coming in to spend time with the cats and dogs. We have basically volunteers in every day, all day, weekends and holidays too. Wow. So they start coming in maybe sometimes around 8 or 10 in the morning. We have a morning meeting at 11 a.m. every day just to get a good idea of like what's happening today, what animals are coming in, going out, what does everyone need to know about, just really a check-in. And then from there, we start seeing appointments for adoptions and those kinds of things happen throughout the day. And we're open until 7 at night. And so there can be all sorts of things happen within that time frame from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. But usually just lots of things happening all day, every day.
I like to say in our profession too, we do the same thing every day, but different, and kind of the same thing with you too. And you have your routine, which you need, but every animal will provide a different circumstance. Yeah. So from a practical standpoint, do you mind my asking? Well, I'll ask anyway. I guess as far as a cost is concerned for spaying or neutering, I guess who bears that, or how does that work?
That's a great question. We work with Minn Kota Paws. They're a low-cost spay-neuter clinic, and so they're able to provide it's high-quality, high-volume spay-neuter. The process is different than when a veterinarian will do it at a private practice clinic. Okay. It's a special sort of training. I won't get into too many details, but what it allows is the procedure to be done in a more cost-effective manner. And when we have to spay or neuter hundreds, if not more, animals in a year, that really adds up. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking, a spay or neuter for a cat, it tends to be less than a dog. Sure. And so maybe we're looking at like around 100 for a cat and 150 or a little bit more for a dog. Okay. And it's just something that we work with on a regular basis, just to be efficient. And so we spay or neuter all the animals that are 6 months or older before they're adopted. If they're too young to be spayed or neutered, we have an agreement with the adopter that they will spay or neuter, and then they have a sterilization deposit that gets refunded. Okay. Just to be really working hard to control the pet population.
Absolutely, yeah. They almost have to show verification that it happened, is kind of what you're saying. So at this point in the younger facility, as I call it, how many can you house? Obviously, you don't let them all run around together. But no. I guess what's your rate?
Well, I would say we have 9 permanent dog kennels, and we do put pop-up kennels in when necessary, sometimes another 3. And then we have probably room for another maybe up to about 40 cats. Okay. So only about 25% of our animals in our care are in the shelter. Okay. The rest are in foster homes with amazing foster families all over the community. Yeah.
And that's a great segue into me talking a little bit about the importance of the foster care families, because when we adopted our first dog, Sydney, back in 2000, we went to a home in Moorhead and went to their yard and kind of got a meet and greet, and she was, like I say, 100% energy. And there was another dog there at the same time, too. My son was saying, like, can we take them both? I said, no, let's go one. Let's start slow here. Let's try one. But the foster care, that's crazy. Tell me a little bit about that network, I'll call it that, of your foster care people.
Sure. Well, that is such an amazing part of all that we do, and obviously saves so many lives every year because we just couldn't do it without our foster families. So we provide everything that a foster family needs: food, litter boxes, toys, dog beds, blankets, food bowls, all the veterinary care. So we really want the foster families to be able to foster without any cost to them. Right. And it's such a great experience. My husband and I have fostered cats, and I love having that experience too, because fostering is really special. And people say, "Oh, I couldn't do it because I wouldn't be able to let them go." And I felt that way at one point, and I just thought, why don't I give it a try and see what happens? So we took in this tiny little black and white kitten named Spanky, and just the cutest little guy.
Nice.
And it's a mindset. You say, okay, I'm taking care of this animal as long as it needs me, and then it gets to go on to another family. And giving that gift of a pet to a family is very special. Of course, there are tears sometimes, but also it's really rewarding. And yes, there are sometimes things called foster fails where animals don't get adopted because their foster family decides they're already home.
Wow.
So that happens, present company included. But the experience is it's really special. And our foster families really have, and like you said, network is a great way to describe it, because as fosters, we support each other.
Right. And
we also have, we have after hours support for fosters anytime, like 24/7, 365. So if a foster has a question or a concern, they can call and someone will answer no matter what time of day it is, because animals tend to do things sometimes in the middle of the night.
No kidding.
Or on the weekends, or do some crazy thing, and you're like, okay, they ate chocolate. How much did they eat? Right. What do we need to do? Just those kinds of things. Yeah. But also to be support for each other when there might be tough times with, like medical, caring for animals with medical needs is a different level of foster care. But again, we have, people available to just talk through all those kinds of things that need to happen.
There's probably a social media group for that as well too, or a network just of Homeward people of emailing back and forth or messaging back and forth too, just to take advantage of the technology. Well, you answered one of my questions in that how many. It does happen that animals will all of a sudden, what did you call it, where they don't leave?
Yep, foster fail. Yep.
Foster fail. It's a good fail.
Yeah.
But it has to be really neat if you're caring for a dog for 6 months and you've had some people come through. All of a sudden, the right one clicks, and they might bring over their 2 kids that are just wired because they finally got their dog, and it has to help release that animal, that pet, into that family's care. Instead of something gloomy. That's got to be kind of fun to see. So it has to help.
Yes, it does. And there are special times when a young adult is adopting their first pet on their own is really special. I get goosebumps. Some of our fosters have gone into that that lifestyle or that family, or a family that as a family adopts and it's the child's first pet.
Right.
It's just so meaningful and special. It's such a gift. I feel like it is a gift of love to them.
I bet you have a wall of pictures of people with their pets that you've rehomed. If not, you should. Polaroids.
It would be a big wall.
Okay, maybe a digital wall.
Yes. Well, I have of my own fosters. I have a photo album for every single one of the 40 or so fosters. Man. So yeah, my phone is full of pictures of animals.
Memories about full.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think people would really be surprised at really how much planning goes into caring, for animals properly. So I want to talk a little bit about the expansion, and that's really exciting to see. I go by the location, 19th Avenue and 45th Street, right out in that area. That's really a booming area. But the expansion you're looking at it's safe to say it's really not expanding just to get bigger for the sake of getting bigger. It's really about doing the job the right way, more professional for the staff, but also the animals, but also the families too. So let's talk a little bit about the expansion, I guess. When did you begin considering it? Probably the day you started. But tell me a little bit about how it came to fruition.
Well, it's been a conversation with the organization and with the board for quite a few years. The building, because the building was built in 1990, it was built for what was kind of the trend in animal welfare at the time. Okay. And things have changed so much in the way that animals are cared for, and the need for more space for the animals is important. There's been a lot of research done with veterinarians and veterinary professionals about the benefits to having more space for animals and not just just a small kennel for them.
Right. And
so really looking at that. And so along with the planning for this shelter, I'm part of a fellowship, a year-long fellowship with shelter leaders from different parts of the country. And it's facilitated and mentored by 2 outreach veterinarians who have a lot of experience in shelter design and just how a shelter runs. And so they've been a really great help as we're looking at what should we have in the new shelter, what sizes should we have for the kennels, like all those kinds of details. So that process has been really important in that we build it right, not just bigger.
Right. Yeah. I was impressed really to look at the facilities you're looking at expanding, and not just the building from the size standpoint. But people like me and most people don't even really consider, you need an efficient HVAC system, for processing the air for health of the animals, but also the people, especially too. But obviously you'll be able to handle, more animals numerically. But that also has to be a great motivator for the sustainability of your volunteers and employees. Kind of coming to a new facility that's clean and bigger and brighter, and so that has to help too, I bet.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So I mentioned briefly the location of that. You've got a goal as far as the target goal for raising the funds for that. And by the way, I have to comment, in perusing the website, which of course is homewardonline.org, I looked at the board of directors that you have there. There's some heavy hitters on there. And that is, and I mean that in a good way, in that just shows me the commitment to the community, from the community to do it. And so that was impressive too. But anyway, tell me a little bit about the money, because people will want to know about that, and you'll want them to know that too, especially since we'll talk about it in a moment. But what we call Giving Hearts Day is coming up right around the corner. But I'll be quiet and just tell me a little bit about the finances.
Certainly. So we did start our capital campaign in 2025. Had a lot of great conversations with a lot of great donors. We got a really good start. We're at $3 million. We are not where we wanted to be with our original goal, so we're actually actively right now revising things, looking at the shelter plan and looking at building it in somewhat of a phased approach, but also to really find the best way to have a solid, good footprint to provide what we really need, with the option to have expansions. So I don't have an exact goal right now today, because we're in conversation yesterday with the plans. I think it's going to be something in the realm of maybe $9 million. So a third of the way. So I think that's good, and we've got plenty of land to expand, and we're designing with the idea that expansion could happen in 2 different directions, just to give us options. Okay.
I mentioned briefly Giving Hearts Day. For those of you not living in our area, that's an annual day that nonprofits and alike will basically, it's a promotion for donating, and it's just incredible how many $1 million they raise for hundreds of nonprofits throughout the state. But that's really an exciting part about it. But how about like monthly recurring donations? That all has to help. Every little bit has to help, I bet.
Oh, definitely. Everything. We have a variety of donors at lots of different levels of giving. We receive, I think it's probably about 85% of our donations and income are from individual donors. So the community, the region are so important to just the day-to-day work that we do. We have to manage to keep our operating income coming in alongside the capital campaign gifts.
Right.
So it's looking at both ways. Monthly donors are wonderful. I mean, that's just
something you can count on.
yes,
Right.
and it can be at any level. We have the donors give like at lots of different levels, and the monthly gifts are such a wonderful way to support the work we do.
And I kind of touched on maybe the not so fun part about being the executive director, because when you volunteered, when you started, you were playing with the puppies and the cats and everything, and now you sometimes have to go in and meet with the board of directors and talk about the finances and things, when you might look at over some of the younger people that are playing with the puppies and you say, hey, I want to do that. I want to do that. Can I do that some more? But it's all part of the process. So are all shelters for the most part funded the same way, community? And but there's probably not too many privately funded shelters, are there?
Well, that's a really great question. There is, I mean, I think there might be a few shelters in Minnesota that are funded quite heavily through one maybe family foundation.
Sure. Okay.
I think they're still technically nonprofits,
Right.
501c3s, but a vast majority of their income or revenue is from one family, and the organization is actually named after the family.
It's not a country club of animal
No,
shelters.
right.
So, I mean, it's true that I don't think not everybody can adopt. There's many reasons why people do, and many reasons why they can't. But other ways that people can help. We've talked a little bit about volunteering and fostering, of course, and living in North Fargo, not too far from the shelter. It's always would take Molly up to the dog park, and I'd see people walking by with their yellow vests and one or two dogs, and I'd go like, oh, there goes a dog from the shelter. But tell me about maybe other ways people can help volunteering, whether it's donating food or praying for you or whatever. But just tell me about what can people do?
Well, Colleen brought up two great ways that people can really participate and volunteer in a maybe a little more non-traditional way rather than walking dogs and socializing cats, is the idea of watching the website and watching Facebook and see, oh, maybe so-and-so might want to adopt this dog or cat. Sharing that is such a great way, because it's just fun to see all the ways that that's another good ripple effect. Yep. Where you just might match up. You might help us be matchmakers, and that's amazing. Oh, right. Love it. That's one that's wonderful. The other one is when Colleen mentioned that I think it was her cat was getting a little fussy with food. And so donating food, even if it's been opened, bringing that up to the shelter. We have a very special little pet food pantry. It's called Plato's Pet Food Pantry. And Plato was a cat who lived at the shelter and was the man in charge for many years, and he was pretty special to us. And after he passed away, we decided to name this little pet food pantry after him. And we stock it with dog food and cat food when we have, when we have donations. We really rely on the community for that, because we don't have funding to provide that ourselves. And the community is very generous to provide dog food, cat food, sometimes treats, toys. And so we just really try to keep that full all the time, because it's something that we know that there are some community members who might feed their pets before they feed themselves. And it's there again, this it gets a little emotional, the people who are so thankful for that resource, and it means so much to them just to have that resource to help them just get through to when they can get back on their feet again.
Absolutely. You had commented that your business office is located across the street, but I would imagine you do spend a lot of time there at the shelter. It's great. I saw a photograph on the forum article about the cat's name. I can't remember, but he's got the bow tie. Beans, yeah.
Yes.
So Beans gets the run of the place?
He gets the run of the front. So he has access to a few offices. He doesn't go back and hang out with the dogs.
Doesn't taunt them.
But for anyone who comes into the shelter, you'll probably see Beans. He often spends his time lounging on the counter, showing off whatever tie of the day he's wearing, and he's the boss.
Cool. Well, it really does summarize everything that I wanted to talk about. But let me just give a couple little plugs here for more information. And actually, on our podcast notes, we will have our dog Molly and Kiki as guests, so their photos will show up as far as guests on this podcast. As will Colleen's now. Yeah. But the website, of course, I found just an abundance of information on that, homewardonline.org, and especially go to the Contact Us. But on that website, there's so many ways that you can find out about the shelter, ways you can support, donate, just a bunch of information. Their phone number is 701-239-0077. And, of course, the address in North Fargo is 1201 28th Avenue North, and right off University for the most part. So I really can't think of anything else that I would like to ask or cover, but am I forgetting anything, Tasha, that you would want to make sure people know? Maybe you'd like to wind up talking a little bit about Giving Hearts Day and how that can possibly impact the shelter.
Oh, certainly. I mean, I think we covered a lot of important information today. And I think one message that I really think is important is Homeward Animal Shelter exists because of the generosity of our community and the region and all the partners that I mentioned. We can't do it alone. Right. We can't do it without our volunteers, our fosters, our donors, and just know that we take it very seriously, that we are the stewards of this generosity to provide the care for these animals now and into the future. And the new shelter, of course, is so important for the future of our community. Right. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than any of us now. And I hope that it's something that will be here long after I retire. But jumping back to Giving Hearts Day, that's a really wonderful day of the year. We are just so honored to be part of that day. And it really is a wonderful opportunity for us to reach donors. And it's a really big day for us. It's a really wonderful giving day. And that's so important because that is, a good chunk of our general operating support comes in on Giving Hearts Day. And, we're delighted to have sponsors match some of those gifts up to $35,000. So that's just another way that the community is really stepping up and really being part of the solution for homeless pets, really being there to find them their forever home and just give them a second chance, really, to live their best lives.
I could be wrong, and I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I seem to remember something about donations might be matched by the Dakota Medical Foundation or something. Is there any truth to that?
The donations are actually matched by our donors, okay. And so we have raised $35,000 in matching gifts from our donors that will then match the gifts that come in on Giving Hearts Day. Dakota Medical Foundation is wonderful. They support the platform, and they do a lot of marketing, and they do a lot of training opportunities. And so Dakota Medical Foundation is the reason that this even exists and this happens. And they do give out some special gifts. Right. There's some different prizes. There's golden ticket awards, which are fun. And there's just a lot. The day really feels like a holiday it feels like a special day. And it's like we're all celebrating together, and a lot of different charities are benefiting. And so it really feels, it just really has a wonderful feeling. The day is exciting, and it goes for 24 hours. I don't stay up all the way until, maybe I'll stay up until midnight. But it's just a really wonderful, exciting day, and it really gives everybody an opportunity to just be a giving heart.
It reminds me a little of the old Jerry Lewis telethons. People at a phone bank answering phones and getting excited. But there is some phrase out there, and I'm going to just kill it by getting it wrong, but something about the community or a society, the compassion of a society is shown by how they care for animals. And that's exactly it, I think, what we're talking about today. So we appreciate you and all the volunteers and the other shelters as well too. So thank you for stopping by today. And for our listeners out there, I don't have the website for Giving Hearts Day off the top of my notes here, but if you just Google Fargo, North Dakota Giving Hearts Day, it'll pop up very easily. Just search in there for the myriad of nonprofits for Homeward Animal Shelter. It will pop up, and you'll just see just an amazing things there. So, well, thank you, listeners. Thank you, Tasha, for coming by today. And folks, enjoy this day. We look forward to another fun broadcast next month. So enjoy your day. Thanks for listening. You have been listening to More Than a Funeral, Voices of the Red River Valley. And I have been your host, Tom Pence, and I'm one of the funeral directors at Corsmo Funeral and Cremation Service here in Moorhead, Minnesota. The word service has been an intentional part of our name for over 66 years, and we pride ourselves on attention to detail and personal service. Personally, my responsibilities revolve around the advanced planning aspect of our profession, and I enjoy visiting with people as we discuss the many possibilities of a memorable celebration service that will eventually honor a life according to their wishes. And from a practical standpoint, which is getting so very important these days, I help families plan ahead so that the family left behind will not be burdened with a large financial responsibility, therefore allowing them to spend time with their family, remembering their loved one, not having to worry about how to handle the expenses. Asset protection is also a very real issue these days, as many care facilities can cost several $1,000s a month, depending upon the level of care. Corsmo can provide simple and effective ways of protecting those assets, and I welcome the opportunity to visit with you about that. If you enjoyed this podcast and found some value in it, we greatly appreciate your sharing with a friend. And if you have a moment, text somebody right now. Encourage them to give a listen and perhaps follow the podcast personally. We anticipate publishing a new episode on the first day of each month, so check back for interesting guests and topics. And of course, we also welcome your suggestions for future guests and topics of interest as well. So thank you for listening. And if you want more information and actually want some free estimates or just have questions, contact any of the directors at Corsmo Funeral and Cremation Service. Our phone number is 218-233-1533, and our web address is corsmofuneralservice.com. Thanks again for listening, and from all of us at Corsmo, have a great day.